And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another weekend edition, another season of the GSL, the 2025 GSL Season 1, Round of 12, Group B. I'm, of course, just VIP. With you, I'm joined by these amazing players, by the people in chat, and by my plushies as well. Welcome, one and all, to our second broadcast of the day. Again, we were live earlier this morning with Group A, with the beginning of the Round of 12 of the Group Stage 1. We were there with Group A. It was an intense broadcast. I do recommend the VOD, so tune into some Zerg, Protoss, and Terran action. But now we are here with Group B. Only two groups, by the way. We mentioned this previously, but again, GSL is more of a condensed format nowadays, a bit of a more condensed format with only 12 players. We have two groups in Group Stage 1, and we have two groups in Group Stage 2 as well. And let's have a look at said group. Here we go as we switch things over and catch up on the matches coming up ahead of us. Now, also, just to be transparent, of course, these matches did occur last week. These occurred last week. We are here to catch up on said matches via replays. Just as a reminder here, when it comes to Group Stage 2, that's actually this week, and we'll be casting that next week. We're like, so like around a week later, we'll be catching up with said GSLs. And again, GSL is going to be a bit of a shorter format this time, only 3 weeks. Or I should say, there's Group Stage 1, Group Stage 2, playoffs. That's all we have. That's all we have. So a very short, condensed form of GSL. But regardless, we are here. Ready for Group B. We have 4 players. We have a Terran in Maru. We have Trigger. We have Rogue, and we have Nightmare. 2 Protoss, 1 Terran, 1 Zerg. Coming into this, we have an interesting pairing of players here. I feel like for the majority of these players, I'm curious to see how they perform. When it comes to Maru, everyone knows Maru. He has been missing in action for most of the year. Maru, he was MIA. He was taking a massive break from the game. We did see him every now and then. I want to say like in Pigsty Festival number 5 in the group stage. We also saw Maru in, I want to say it was either Master Coliseum or Little League Cup at the start of the year, where Maru went down to Lancer. Maru, he did lose a TvP Lancer, and likewise Maru did struggle in the group stage of Pigsty Festival as well. But what I will say, these were, again, for the most part at the start of the year, talking about January, talking about March, and this was during the period where Maru was, taking a break from the game. On top of that, Maru also didn't know if he was going to the military. Another heads up here, Maru, he has officially completed his military service. It is counted as completed, as he did register, sign up, and he was ready to conduct military service for the past 3 years. 3 years passed, and it was on the administration to call upon him every single time. There was no vacancy, and because it was 3 consecutive years, it is counted that he's done, that he's done his military service. He doesn't have to worry about that anymore. He already dedicated his time to be willing to partake and willing to compete, and alas, didn't really come to pass. So now he doesn't have to worry about that. As a reminder, that was announced, I think that was in April. I think it was in April that was announced. Then Maru can just focus on his matches, and now Maru's back. But how is he looking? That's the question. That's the big question. How is Maru looking compared to everyone else after a long break? Likewise, Trigger has been on the rise. If you know anything about Trigger, you would know that he's been in South Korea for the past, 9 months plus at this point. Trigger, he has been training in Korea since last year EWC. That was last year July, so it would have been before July even. He was there with Estrella, with Clem as well, and many others, Future, and I want to say maybe Zane as well. Hard to say about that last one. But Trigger, he spent a lot of time in Korea, still in Korea, of course, as well, and has been improving so much. It's been amazing to see the rate of improvement of Trigger over the past year of play, and has been looking in form. So it was not a surprise to see Trigger make it to GSL. We have Rogue, also a player that was on a bit of a hiatus. I mean, he retired, he came back to the game, and Rogue has been looking decently in form. I think everyone remember Rogue's performance at Star Zagora last year, where he went to town and took down Clem in late game ZVT. What I will say, seeing Rogue recently, is that his play hasn't changed too much. That's still where he thrives, I should say, in the late game. Whether it's a late game ZVT or ZVP, that's where he does thrive when it comes to embracing that late game lurker tech army and having all these counterattacks, so using Mass Overseer, getting all the Niduses up and running, and being all over the place and looking for that one kill shot. That's typically where he thrives. And the other player here that's also a bit of a question mark is Nightmare. Nightmare, he was very active end of last year, beginning of the year, very active playing in everything. And then Nightmare also went on a break. He also went on a hiatus. It was recently announced, I think it was last week at this point, or maybe 2 weeks ago, that Nightmare, he actually joined a Deadlock team. He did join a team in Deadlock. He has been competing in Deadlock as well. I believe he has a joint venture, or he has like a partnership, a shared agreement between his StarCraft 2 team Streamer Zone and his Deadlock team as well. So Nightmare has also been spending time doing other things, right? Kind of taking a step away from StarCraft, competing in other esports. Because of that, I was honestly surprised that Nightmare qualified for GSL. We were covering the qualifiers, and if you remember, I believe Nightmare qualified over Bunny. Bunny failed to qualify and Nightmare took his place instead. I remember being very surprised when that did occur, but shout out to Nightmare. Again, he is now back focusing on StarCraft 2 once again, after taking a bit of a break, after spending time competing in other esports. Now he's here, now he's back, and we'll see where we go from here. I mean, again, so for a lot of these players, like, I have some anticipation and also some questions as to the form that they're looking like coming into this season of GSL. Let's go. Let's go. Military missed out on Maru's micro. True. Aye. Unironically. But here we go. We are getting into our first series, of course. Up first is going to be Maru versus Trigger in a Terran versus Protoss matchup. Let's go. We're jumping into ley lines. And this is going to be, I say, a rematch. We've covered these two face-off in the past before. I'm always reminded of their series in WTL, where we had them go the distance, and honestly Trigger almost brought Maru down in a late game. That was back on, almost said Eternal Empire, not quite, it was back on Gressvan. That's it. Jesus, almost forgot. I believe that was back on Gressvan, if I recall correctly. But yeah, many map pools ago, I think 2 map pools ago at this point. But here we go. We're now getting into our fresh best of 3 and spawning in the top right hand corner of ley lines. We have the South Korean Terran player, the Blue Terran, representing Team Vitality. It is Maru. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the Canadian Protoss player, the Red Protoss, representing Basilisk. It is Trigger. We go. As we do settle in, and again, I do recall Trigger's prowess when it came to the late game, but that was again many map pools ago at this point, before the change to the NG overcharge, where now we have more storm heavy play in the mid game. We'll see if Trigger has adopted that style. I will say that Trigger has also been a little bit less active in recent months. Trigger was very active in November, December, January, but coming into March, April, again, it does feel like Trigger did take a bit of a step back. He was less active in online tournaments. Does that mean that he was any less active practicing? No, by no means whatsoever. Just saying that we had less activity on him, less visual on him to see his rate of improvement. So that's why there's a little bit more ambiguity around Trigger and Maru as well. So we'll see how they compare. So far, double gas opener here out of Maru does open double gas. Of course, we did cover Maru during the GSL, during the qualifiers, of course, where Maru did go down to Gumiho. Gumiho did bring him down in the TvP, but it's a different matchup. As Terran versus Terran, that is where Gumiho can thrive. Here, there are no other Terrans in the group, so Maru, he doesn't have to worry about that matchup. He can rest easy and focus on everything else. If I recall correctly as well, Classic did take a map off of Maru in the qualifiers as well, so they went to the ace match. In the end, Maru did take it and qualify over Classic, but Classic did prove that he is also one that can bring Maru down. But now though, again, double gas leads into a faster factory. Oh right, of course, if you remember the GSL qualifiers, you would know that Maru, he went for nothing but two base all-ins. He did nothing but 2 base all-ins against Classic. He succeeded twice and failed once, just as a reminder as to what happened in those matches. So we'll also keep an eye on Maru to see if he does look to get into a longer game state. Already 1-1-1. That does bode well when it comes to a longer game, getting ready for a Widowmine drop initially, but after this, do we go for the tech lab? Do we go for an early tank? Do we go for an early push? Our eyes are on Maru here. As a reminder, this is a faster starport than normal. Meanwhile, back at home, we do have our tech of choice. It's going to be a Twilight Council opener out of Trigger. Everything so far looking normal. With this Twilight Council opener, we can open up a Blink. We can open up, we should be opening up Blink. But the question becomes, how many gateways? 2 gate Blink, 3 gate Blink, or 4 gate Blink Stalker. Depending on the gateway count, that will dictate how aggressive or how defensive or how greedy Trigger is going to be. So we'll keep it on the gate counts. Meanwhile, the initial adept does get into the main, gets a full scout, gets eyes on the singular Widowmine, and more importantly, sees one Widowmine straight into Tech Lab. There is no second Widowmine, there's no reactor, of course, and we can see a very early tank out of Maru. We mentioned before that Maru, he was going for non-stop 2-base all-ins against Classic during the qualifiers, and I'm curious if this is going to lead into an early tank push as well. First off, we have the drop play, of course, but what comes next, that's what I'm curious by. Another Tech Lab on the starboard. This could be tank Banshee as well, getting ready for an early push. We'll see if a second tank gets made behind this as well. So our eyes are on Maru here as he does move out across the map. Trigger, for the most part, he's aware of how much aggression is coming his way. Remember, he saw the Tech Lab, is aware of the potential of early tanks. But now Trigger 2-gate blink, Jesus. Trigger, he does go 2-gate blink Stalker into a fast third base, so very greedy build here by Trigger, and I'm worried that he won't be able to get away with this, so we'll see if he can. But now Maru, he does start us up nice, he does force a cancel, nice pickoff. And with that Trigger, he's in a rough position, bearing in mind that the purpose of this build that Trigger went for, 2-gate blink, is designed to give you a fast third and designed to give you a boosted economy. But as you can see, with a cancelled third base, he has none of that. He has no army to work with, and his economy is now lackluster. So a rough position here for Trigger, and Maru setting up for his push. Here we go, a couple of boys are being pulled. Yep, we have a second tank behind this, Banshee, so it's going to be the initial aggression here. Maru pushing out with 2 tanks, with Banshees, with Marines. This is going to be a stimulus push here by Maru, but this hits hard. This hits like a truck. Oh boy. And we did see this in the qualifiers. So we have seen this build from Maru before. He did use it to go up against Classic. Does move out. It's going to be on Trigger. I mean, he's aware. He saw this earlier, if you recall, when it came to the initial depth scouts. But Trigger just doesn't have the gateway count. He can only warp in 2 units at a time. He doesn't have the production. And things are looking dire here for Trigger. Shield Wires are not ready. The base was already denied once, and now it's going to be denied for a second time. Massive pickup. Remember, everything was delayed in favor of this third base, and the third base is going to be shut down. We can see Trigger trying to catch reinforcements, but alas, so far there are none. Shield batteries are going to be falling. Trigger coming from behind. Nice catch on the unsieged tanks. Oh! And he will get the medevac. Does get one of the tanks just barely. But he lost the third. He still lost the third base. Maru, they're looking for more damage. Does move in. Trigger behind this going for Colossal production. Pylon goes down. And Trigger's down to 3 Stalkers. He's warping in a couple units at a time. Extra gateways that have finished up. Oh, Trigger getting caught out by the reinforcements. And Maru's going for the kill, going for the throws. I believe Maru, he is within range of, yep, the pylon. The pylon's under fire. Thankfully, backup pylon's on the way. Thankfully. Oof. But GG gets called. Yeah, it doesn't matter. There's just far too much here, and Maru takes game number 1. Whew. GG. GG, well played. I would say that was almost a build order win for Maru. As a reminder, Maru, he did open up double gas into a faster factory, into a faster tech lab, into an early tank push, and Trigger happened going 2-gate blink into a third. Like, that is one of the greediest builds you can go for as Protoss and PvT. So very greedy build, again, very early third base. That means less gateways, less stalkers, later robo, which means no safety immortal. Like, everything is delayed in favor of the third, and it was denied not once but twice. And of course, it was an all-in. It was an all-in out of Maru. With that, GG well played. He does break on through, and with that, Maru takes the lead. Now we're getting into our next game. We're getting into game number 2, and we'll see how Maru will adjust, or how Trigger will adjust. Guess Trigger didn't see all the 2-base all-ins from Maru earlier. I'm hoping that Trigger did his homework. I'm hoping, because if you remember, we weren't the only ones that casted the qualifier. I believe Wardy also casted the qualifier, and Zombie Grub also casted the qualifiers. Like, there was a lot of coverage on the qualifiers. So I'm hoping that Trigger did his homework, because that's all that Maru did during the qualifiers. But here we go, spawning in the top right hand corner of Ultra Love. We have the South Korean Terran player, the Blue Terran. Representing Team Vitality, leading the series 1-0, it is Maru. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the Canadian Protoss player, the Red Protoss. Representing Team Basilisk, it is Trigger. And welcome one and all to Ultra Love. Ultra Love is one of the smaller maps in the map pool. You know what that means? That means all-ins and aggression are favored on Ultra Love, and I'm pretty sure Maru did all in Classic on Ultra Love as well. So I'm leaning towards that kind of style from Maru. Double gas once again. Once again, double gas. Now, double gas doesn't mean all in. It just means faster factory, which can lead into an all in. It depends what comes after, right? With a faster factory, you can still go reactor into like a commitment into Widowmine drops, for example, for greater scouting and more aggression. This can lead into like a faster 1-1-1 into Cloak Banshee, for example, or it could lead into early tanks again. Right, like that's a scary thing here about a double gas opener, is that there are options available to Maru. Meanwhile, from the side of Trigger, I'm hoping he doesn't go 2-gate blink. Like again, like what Trigger went for last game was the greediest build you can go for. Like technically, I guess on maps like Radisson Station, you can go like 1-gate blink expand or something crazy like that on some of these other quirky maps. But for the most part, 2-gate blink, like that's as greedy as you go when it comes to what's legal in PvT. So I'm hoping the Trigger calms down a little bit coming into game number 2, but we'll see. So now, again, factory is on the way. This should lead into a CC on the low ground, and then we'll keep an eye on the factory to see if we once again go for an early tech lab into early tank production. Meanwhile, going to be settling in. Likewise, it's also a little bit on Trigger because remember, he did see the early tech lab last game as well with his adept, so he was aware. Speaking of early tech, we don't even waste time with the Widowmine. Like this is even faster. Like remember, last game it was Widowmine, then Starport, then Widowmine drop, then the tech lab. But here, just straight up tech lab out of Maru. From here we can. Okay. Cyclone first, thankfully. We'll see. This could be double Cyclone. It could be Cyclone into Cyclone drop, or it could be Cyclone into tank drop. So we'll see what's made after the initial Cyclone. As a Twilight Council gets thrown down for Trigger. Likewise, a second gateway here at the natural. So far, 2-gate setup. I'm hoping we get a safety 3rd gateway before expanding, but we'll see if Trigger does play it safe or once again tries to get away with some greed. Oh, okay. You have my attention. It's going to be Cyclone opener into an add-on swap. Now this can lead into, like, say, Raven opener, for example, or this should lead into earlier Banshees. Cyclone is designed to zone away and catch out the initial adept. Adept should shade away. Never mind. It's going to be shut down. And yep, there we go. So it is going to be Cyclone into add-on swap into very early Cloak Banshee. Remember, last game it was Banshee, but it wasn't Cloak. Right? It was not Cloak. We didn't invest into that upgrade. Here, really fast Cloak Banshee with tank production beside it. So this is hyper aggressive here from Maru, but a different form of aggression, of course. Now, you know what's scary? Detection. It is not uncommon. Oh, thank God. I was gonna say it's not uncommon for Protoss Spirits to delay their robo. Thankfully, do you see what I see? 3-gate opener, robo, gases before the 3rd. This is very safe. This is very safe build here from Trigger. Remember, last game he went 2 gateways. He delayed his robo, he delayed his 3rd gate, he delayed his gases, all for a faster 3rd. Here, much safer play, and with this Trigger, he will have the tools to defend. We'll have the tools. Of course, it's still going to be difficult. It's still going to be very aggressive out of Maru. But Trigger, the pants are up. Let's go. The pants are up this time. 3rd base is now on the way for Trigger. But again, this is a later 3rd after all of the production, all of the tech. Stalkers move out. And here comes the push. A couple of boys are being pulled as well. We have 2 tanks. We have the Cyclone. The initial Banshee is already across the map. Oh, but Trigger, he does catch a tank. Not bad. 1 tank goes down. Massive pickoff. Recalls back home. Banshee into the main. And probes are going to be going down. Do we have detection? We do. We have the Observer. Observer's racing on over from the natural, but Maru's sneaking up on the 3rd. Trigger, this time, remember, he's in position. This time he has an army. This time Trigger can hold. Going for the Cyclone, diving on the tank. He gets one, he gets both tanks. Nice catch. Takes down both tanks. Oh, meanwhile, Cloak is activated. Probes did go down, and the Marines are still going for the 3rd base. That's a lot of Marines. So far, does blink away. More reinforcements coming in. The Banshees, they wreak havoc. They actually get quite an amount of DPS here on those Stalkers. And the Stalkers, they kept busy. They kept busy, and the base is getting lower and lower. Can we save the third? Oh, we cannot. The third base is denied. And Maru, that's the least that he was hoping for. He still gets more damage, though. Marines are cleaned up. And meanwhile, Banshee going ham. The Banshee's just going ham here. 7 more probe kills. 8 more probe kills. Gets 8, gets 9. And almost 10. And Trigger does hold. Trigger does survive, but these are brutal losses nonetheless. So looking at the unit loss tab here, Trigger, he lost 15 probes. That's a full mineral line. He lost a full mineral line worth of workers, and he also lost a third base, 6 Stalkers as well. Now, he did survive. He did fight back. He did clean up the army. Again, because of his opener this time, he had a standing army, but that was still critical damage. This is better than last game, but still critical damage was dealt. Back at home, Maru, he has his tank line set up, tank at the natural, tank in the main, and now it's on Maru to defend. The damage has been done. It's all about fortifying himself on 2 bases, building up, and then pushing. For Trigger, it's not about containing. Containing is not good enough. Like, Maru, he's containing himself. Like, he's fine. Like, he already doesn't want to move out without stim. So Maru, he's already just turtling up as we speak. Here, it's on Trigger to find some damage, to poke in, maybe get behind the mineral line, maybe snipe the tank. There's no bunker. There's no bunker here. That's actually quite greedy. Oh, but the Stalkers, they do not blink in. They get 1 SCV. Meanwhile, oh, Banshees in the main. They get 4 probes and they get a pylon. Scan into the natural, trying to keep an eye on what's going on. He does find the bay. So Maru, he's aware of the Colossus. Interesting, by the way. So it's not going to be a Storm follow-up. It's going to be Colossus instead. It's going to be those Colossi. Here, Maru does pull away. Still retains those Banshees. And Maru, he breaks out early on. I was expecting him to wait for plus on. Actually, it's all lining up. Yeah, never mind. I was expecting him to wait for his upgrades. I mean, stim is done. Combat shields in 10 seconds. Maru, this is a very crisp timing here for our blue Terran, and this is designed to kill. Like, based on how much damage has already been dealt, Trigger, he barely has a standing army. Trigger, despite having the bay, he has no Colossus. He can't afford it. No Colossus. No splash damage. Zealous, they do catch one of the tanks. Not bad. Likewise, blinks in. Takes down 1, 2, 3 more tanks. Nicely done. Trigger, he takes down 3 tanks. Collapsing on the main army. This is the best fight that Trigger could have hoped for. Catching 3 tanks early on. Trigger holds. Whew. Trigger holds on. Maru, he gets caught unsieged. Maru slipping up here. And Trigger, he's going to stabilize. He's not there yet, but he's getting there. Again, that was a strong fight for Trigger. Likewise, Colossus on the way. Trigger does threaten to dive. Oh. Collapsing the Marines. Picks up some of the buys. Some decent trades here from Trigger. Okay, so I do some pickups. Oh. Here does pull back. Bleeds out all his Zealots. There's still a lot of Marauders here for Maru. We need some more splash damage. There we go. The Colossus has arrived. And Trigger, without help, with the help of the Colossus, he can hold on. Can hold. He can defend. Meanwhile, Maru, he's... Oh my god! Jesus! Hey, remember what we said about Maru just doing non-stop 2-base all-ins in the qualifiers? Yeah, another 2-base all-in. Let's go! I mean, it was hyper-aggressive to begin with his opener. And yeah, all the boys are pulled. Maru, he commits. Behind this, no shield battle. Oh, no shield battery. There are some force fields. Trigger buying some time. Does buy some time. It's all or nothing for Maru. The choke point here is in favor of Trigger. The Marines actually pull back. Marauders, they tank those Colossus shots. He's going for the kill. He's going for the stim. The shield battery is done. 23 SCVs go down. Trigger, can he hold on? He's close to. Oh, but the Colossus goes down. Brutal pickup. Oh no, he's not. No, not again. We've seen that before. The Colossus. He has to recall. The Colossus could not take part. And the army's gonna crumble. Oh no, if the Colossus was a part of this, then maybe Trigger would have held. It would have been possible, but again, we have seen many a Protoss player have their Colossus. Have their Colossus trapped here in the corner. I want to say it happened to Australia, like maybe last week in Pegasaur Cup. the NA Protoss. Like, it happened to Australia as well. And GG gets called. Maru, he will take the series 2-0, commit to the all-in, break trigger, and claim the series 2-0. GG. Whew. GG, well played, Maru. He will claim the series. Again, Trigger this time had a much stronger showing in game 2. Despite that, it was still just some brutal damage. Despite that, just still brutal damage early on. As a reminder, what did Maru get done? Oh, I should fix up that scoreline. There we go. What did Maru get done? Maru, he was able to kill 15 probes, and he forced a cancel in the third base, and he killed 6 stalkers with his first push, with his Banshee tank push. Like, it was so much damage early on, and it wasn't enough to straight up kill Trigger, but it was enough to cripple him. It was enough to cripple, and from there, that's why Maru's 2-base all-in was so successful, because Trigger was already trying to stabilize or trying to stand back up after the early game. I will say that Trigger had the best fight possible after that, where he caught all 3 tanks on siege. Like, that was a really strong moment for Trigger, but unfortunately, he didn't see the all-in coming, so he had no shield batteries. There was 0 shield batteries ready at the third base. Likewise, really unfortunate rally as well, as I don't know how long that Colossus was stuck at the natural. Like, that is brutal. It happened, I think it was 2 weeks ago in Pickers World Cup, where Australia, the same thing happened to him, but it wasn't with Colossus, it was with Immortals. But the same thing, that because of the terrain, specifically at the natural on Ultra Love, because of those little jagged edges, depending on your rally, like your robo units or units can get stuck there. So that's yeah, we've seen that before, and it's happened to Trigger here. GG. GG, well played with that. Maru, he will claim the first series. Unfortunately, really rough showing there from Trigger. As we mentioned, Maru, he has been hyper aggressive and doing nothing but all in, specifically in TvP. I should emphasize that. Specifically for Terran versus Protoss, Maru has been doing nothing but 2-base all ins, even against, you know, higher caliber players like Classic, for example, like Hero as well. So Maru, he's just been doubling down, and it did seem like Trigger maybe wasn't aware of that in game 1. Like, game 1 was unfortunately a little bit more lopsided. Regardless, GG. GG, well played. With that, we have Maru advancing on to the winners match, and now we have our next PvZ getting ready for us. Up next is Rogue versus Nightmare. Let's go.